Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of Secrets of the Moon by Kristy Centeno, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Prologue, Marjorie. Mulberry Road was a dark, solitary road in the countryside of Wolf Creek Hollow, a town the equivalent of bumfuck nowhere. The perilous street hugged one side of a mountain like a scared child embracing its mother. Hardly transited during the day, it was a joyrider's paradise after midnight. Few dared to brave the hazardous ride through dangerous curbs bordering steep hills, guided only by the dim illumination of their headlights. Marjorie Emery was neither brave nor a joyrider, just plain stupid. A goody two-shoes trying to prove to others and herself that she was a wannabe daredevil willing to occasionally take risks too. Come on, Margie, go faster. Tracy Malcolm leaned in and peeked at the speedometer. You're not even pushing 80. Her bloodshot eyes attested to a long night of heavy partying. This ain't doing it for me, Margie. Long golden tendrils blew around Angela's face like a halo as she poked her head out the window and laughed. I don't think that's such a good idea, Angie, Claire Matthews shouted from the back seat. It wasn't easy to maneuver. It wasn't as easy to maneuver the car on the winding asphalt, and Marjorie was beginning to understand why Mulberry Road had garnered its infamous nickname of Kill Zone Road. Why not? The street's empty. Come on, Margie, put the pedal to the metal. Marjorie glanced back at Angela through the rearview mirror, heart skipping a beat at the sight of her halfway out the window. Angie, you're not even wearing your seatbelt. Put it on. Hating to sound like a scolding mother, she winced at the authoritativeness of her tone. Unfortunately, the protest was ignored. You're where fun goes to die, Margie. Angela flipped Marjorie the bird. Tonight is all about living in the moment, remember? Claire, who sat in the rear with Rosa and Angela, reached for a handful of Angie's shirt and yanked to pull the girl back inside. Angela shoved Claire's hand away and resumed her perilous position. Whatever happened to showing off, huh? When Marjorie's friend suggested taking her new Toyota Camry up Mulberry Road on a dare, it had seemed like a good plan. Just something to pass the time and score popularity points in the process. But the more she struggled to stay on one lane, the more it hit her that having 4 beers on an empty stomach first was a horrible idea. The queasiness threatening to upheave her gastrointestinal system had her rethinking more than one poor choice tonight. Let yourself go for once and enjoy it. Angela flailed her arms if she intended to take flight. Of the 4 friends, Angela Bradshaw had gone overboard with alcohol consumption, gulping down drink after drink with the same ease most people chug water. This was a horrible idea. Rosa Martinez patted Marjorie's right shoulder. Maybe we should go home. Don't be such a party pooper, Rosa. Angela waved a hand as if to emphasize a point she hadn't yet made. We're up here to show Wolf Creek Hollow that we're just as daring. And that was how it had started. A group of students had highlighted how well behaved they were, and voila, the girls decided they had as much to prove as the last couple of hotheads that took on Mulberry Road and lived to tell the tale. Despite the voice in Marjorie's head cautioning her to stop, she tapped the gas pedal just enough to give the car another boost that sent it speeding down a 40-mile-per-hour zone, pushing 75. The girls cheered on excitedly. Now here's the Margie I remember. Claire's sluggish speech only served to plant more seeds of doubt in Marjorie's head. Was she overthinking things as usual? Wasn't the point of all this to earn another title other than Miss Goody Two-Shoes? Tossing caution to the wind, she hit the gas. Every risky maneuver emboldened her to move past her limitations, enthralled by the possibility of becoming the first teenage girl to joyride on Mulberry Road without crashing or dying. Fast approaching Dead Man's Curve, she saw an opportunity to prove herself a skillful driver. The bend was one sharp turn that placed cars near the edge of the hill on the left-hand side of the road. Dead Man's Curve earned its famous nickname after claiming several victims that, like her, had thought themselves invincible to its hazardous arch. Damn it, Angie, keep the window shut. Rosa's annoyance drew Marjorie's attention to the rearview mirror. Angie was still halfway off the car, her bum inches from Rosa's face. It's cold. Rosa reached around Claire and hooked a finger inside Angela's jean pocket. She pulled, but Angie gave a quick jerk of her hips to free herself. I'm hot, Angie protested. Close the damn window. Enough, Rosa. Angie swatted Rosa's hand with her own. The bickering between the two didn't sit well with Marjorie, just another hitch that sent waves of doubt surging through her mind. Angie, I told you before, put your seatbelt on. Angela was almost halfway out the window when Marjorie glanced at her via the rearview mirror. It was only a matter of time before the girl tumbled out of the car. Pushing 75 on such a compact road guaranteed that all injuries sustained during the fall could lead to death. Marjorie laid off the gas a little and slowly stepped on the brakes, opting to listen to the warning shots in her brain. Opting to listen to the warning shots her brain started firing off. Angie's recklessness, as well as hers, could end badly. Margie, watch out. Claire pointed at the windshield, eyes wide as saucers. Marjorie glanced ahead just as a small herd of deer emerged from the woods to their right. They dashed across the road in front of the car and hopped over the guardrail on the opposite side before disappearing into the night. A massive bulk of black fur followed. It sprinted to the middle of the road. Its large, round, yellow eyes glowed as the beam of the car's headlights illuminated a set of pointed ears and elongated muzzle. She caught a glimpse of it for a fraction of a second before she turned the wheel to the left to avoid a head-on collision with the creature. The car swerved. Tires screeched as the rear fishtailed for a few breaths before Marjorie lost control. The car jerked to the side, hitting the flimsy guardrail with a loud bang. The impact jarred her. The sound of metal striking metal drowned out the girl's screams for a split second before it gave way. Marjorie's breath hitched in her throat as the rail flattened, and then they were barreling down the hill. All 17 years of her life flashed before her eyes in an instant. Glass shattered, spraying tiny shards in all directions. Marjorie tried to protect her face from the projectiles, but she lost the ability to control her limbs. She could have sworn she heard her blood rushing to her head as they were suspended upside down for a moment before the car came to a rest at the base of a massive pine tree. The rush of agonizing pain shot from Marjorie's crown and neck to back and hips. The smell of copper filled her nostrils. Sticky red liquid oozed down her temple, pouring onto her hands and thighs, saturating her clothes. The world came in and out of focus with each blink. She couldn't speak or move. Numbness spread throughout her body. An unsettling chill sank in, replacing the warmth that previously cocooned her now broken form. Sleep wanted to claim her, but she fought the promise of a painless slumber with every ounce of strength she had left, afraid that giving in meant never waking up again. A sudden flash of movement up ahead caught her attention. The massive bulk of fur abandoned its four-legged prey and dutifully made its way down the hill toward the mangled car instead. Her stomach clenched as the creature slunk in their direction, its yellow eyes focused on her. She opened her mouth to scream, but nothing came out. She couldn't even muster the energy to push sounds from her throat. The creature could smell blood, probably deciding during its pursuit of a meal that they made for a more effortless supper than five fully able deer. Trapped in a steel cage with the predator on the loose and with no way to escape, Marjorie couldn't do more than wait for death as it approached on two muscular legs. It crept closer, its massive frame not that of an oversized bear, but something much more terrifying. A monster that shouldn't exist. Its long muscular arms reached nearly to its knees. Each of its surprisingly humanoid hands was equipped with thick claws the size of her pinky. Dark fur covered every inch of its massive body, though she couldn't tell from a distance its exact color. But what got her heart going, made her stomach clench at the very sight, was the elongated muzzle protruding from below its large golden eyes. Its scrutiny was entirely predatory, like it couldn't wait to sink its sharp teeth into her flesh. Horrified by the prospect of being eaten alive, she reached for the seatbelt. It was of no use. Her brain sent the command, but her body wouldn't obey. Her arms were dead weight. Lifting her head proved impossible. Resigned to whatever fate had designed for them, she squeezed her eyes shut and waited for those many daggers to start tearing her flesh, reducing her to meat, bones, and pieces of gore. God, it seemed, was fond of her after all, because sleep finally pulled Marjorie under its protective wing, sparing her the experience of being devoured by a creature taken from her worst nightmares.